ChatGPT has very good English. I think you'd agree. I don't know if you've ever talked to it, but yes, I think everybody who's ever used ChatGPT can confirm. But it doesn't have any grammatical model inside it at all. All they did was give it lots of input and ask it to guess what should come next. And in the beginning, the answers were random. What they did was they strengthened the connections within the neural network that supported the right answers, and they weakened the connections that supported the wrong answers. And after they did that for long enough, it started to come up with correct answers, frighteningly good answers, in fact. But when you look at the individual neurons and the connections between them, you can't find the past perfect or the subjunctive or anything like that. It never studied language. It works because of recognizing patterns based on lots of input. So what if it turns out that our brains actually acquire language a lot like this? No, there's no actual grammar structure in the brain. It's all just pattern recognition on lots of input. Who knows? Well, actually, there is a way to test it on yourself, a quick and easy way to do that. And as you know by now, it's 30 stories. I tell you lots of stories, and I'm giving you raw data because what is the raw data? I'm giving you the meaning component with gestures and funny noises and pictures, and I'm giving you the form component by speaking Toki-Pona. And if you get enough of that input, your brain starts to make the connections. So the reason why it's Toki-Pona is because normally 10 hours wouldn't be enough to experience this effect to a significant degree. But Toki-Pona is just 120 words. So after just 10 hours or 30 stories of 20 minutes each, you can actually experience it happening for yourself. And my latest victim is Kostas. Say hello, Kostas. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. Yeah, thanks for agreeing to doing this interview. It's been a while since the last one, so yeah, we're still here. We're still doing this. It's nice.
This is great.
So my first question that I ask everybody is, what is your background with languages? Very open-ended question.
Um, it is. I'm just gonna babble through it. When so my mother speaks Greek, and so does my grandmother. And when I was growing up, I was taught English and Greek by them. So like when I was going through like kindergarten or whatever, I had like a little Greek accent. So I instead of saying warm, I would say warm, and like instead of yellow, it'd be like yellow. So things like that. But that eventually got changed as I experienced more of the language. But like I would not say that I got a significant amount of Greek out of that. I know a bunch of like random words and how to put it together, but I've been throughout my life going to like trying to go to Greek school and then like learning that way, and then I've most recently picked it up again during the pandemic to try to learn that. But in the interim between that, I tried to learn Spanish. I did not learn Spanish. I tried to learn French. I did not learn French. I tried to learn a little bit of German. I definitely didn't learn a little German. But yeah, I would say I'm monolingual, and I'm very excited about the concept of language and learning new languages. I am not very good at learning new languages, and when I came across comprehensible input, I got very excited.
Mhm.
That's how I found you, actually. I, uh, I accidentally stumbled upon Tokipona, and I was like, "What is this thing? This is a language in like a tiny language.
Yeah.
How does that work?" And I was wondering, and I was wondering if there was comprehensible input for it because like maybe I could see if that method works, and it looks like it does.
Okay. Well, a perfect fit then. So, just to confirm, you discovered comprehensible input, but then it was when you specifically searched for Tokipona comprehensible input that you found this, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Ah, all right. Maybe
yeah.
one
You're the
day,
first.
if people search
Great.
for comprehensible input, they'll find this directly. That's what I'm hoping. We'll see. Anyway, so I mean, the next question is why did you take the challenge? But I suppose you've more or less explained that.
I don't know. I like doing challenges. I saw your call out there on Reddit, and I was like, okay, it's probably already done. But then I found out that it's open ended, so I got really excited. And I want to help you get another data point.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So, but just to confirm, are you based in the States or Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in the
Yes.
States. Okay. And you've always lived there, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think I've mentioned this before. I mean, as you can tell from my accent, I'm English.
Oh,
So,
cool.
yeah, I think there
You're
is
close.
something to be said of how if you come from the English speaking world, you are speaking the language that most people want to speak.
Yeah.
And so there's very little incentive and very little practical need to actually go out and learn another language. So you
Yeah.
have like people from like say let's say Sweden or Netherlands or the Netherlands or Switzerland, for example, and they generally tend to be multilingual.
Mhm.
And for sure, it's a good thing. But just the fact of being multilingual, it's a part of life. It's not to their credit so much
Yeah.
because you need more than one language to live. So I think it's worth going easy on ourselves just a little bit, if you see what I mean, you know. And also, as you said, you've dabbled with other languages, and your exposure to Greek wasn't significant. I'm gathering.
Yeah.
So yeah, trying to study it formally without really encountering that language in the wild. I mean,
It's very difficult. It's
yeah.
very difficult.
Well, second language acquisition researchers have known for half a century that that's not supposed to work anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there you go. All right. So, onto the experiment. Just to confirm, before you started watching the videos, did you know any Tokipona? Had you learned some of the words or studied the grammar?
No. No.
No? Okay.
Not at all. I
Oh.
tried to, but like I forgot about it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
I found Tokipona like a few years back, and then I downloaded like an Anki deck, and I never did it.
All right.
So,
Okay.
this is a good opportunity to be like, okay, let's go in fresh and like do an experiment with comprehensible input and see like how that works. And I'm very curious about what to do after this.
Okay. We can
Yeah,
talk about that. Yeah.
yeah.
So, so would you? I'm sure you might remember still like three, four, five words from when you looked into it. I mean, if you're at up to the point of downloading an Anki deck, probably you have a couple of words at least.
No, absolutely not. I
Absolutely
didn't.
not. Oh, okay,
It's a
fine, fair enough.
completely. It has not been touched ever.
Wow. Okay, you're pristine.
Yes, I am fresh like a baby.
Okay, super. All right. During the so you watched one video a day for 30 days, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Did you miss some days? Or
No.
was it straight through 30 days?
Straight through, video a day, every day. Never missed a day. Never skipped a day. Never did more than one video a day, and I only watched the videos once.
Wow. Okay.
So I did exactly what you said.
Wow. Thank you very much for trying that. All right then. Okay. So let's give it a go. Sinä Kentuckyan kosa.
Uh, 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 on the spot. Non paw one.
Number one.
One
Nilikan.
tempo, one tempo.
Hold on.
Uh, Me and Lilian Melly, Nasin Matomo, uh, in Matomo, uh, Lukin uh, Tomo Tomo Waso uh, Tomo Waso Soeli. Tomo Waso Soeli.
Uh,
Uh, uh, Soeli Waso? Soeli Waso?
Soeli Nilikan. Niotoki. mi wile lukineni, mi sona e toki sina ano ala. Sina, yo yan lili meli ano seme. Nili lon? Lon. Sina en yan lili sina li tawa lon nasin. Nili lon?
Tawa lon nasin.
Nasin ni li lon insa pi matomo suli.
Matomo, yeah, ne.
Nasin ni li lon ala makasi, ni li lon matomo. Nasin ni li lon matomo.
Nasin Matomo. Yeah.
Nasin pi matomo. Lon. Sina en meli lili sina li lon nasin, lon insa pi matomo. Sina tawa ma wan manila soweli muteli lon, waso muteli lon, nili masamani anu seme.
Mute, Soeli Mute, Soeli Mute, Lilian, Olin, Soeli.
Yan nili olin soweli.
Yeah.
Nili mani li suli anu lili.
Mani,
sina en meli lili sina li tawa li lukine ma soweli. Ma soweli ni li suli anu lili.
Suli.
Suli.
Yeah.
Soweli pi mani li suli anu lili.
Mi Olin Soeli Yellow.
Soweli yellow.
Soeli Tello Yellow.
Soweli telo yellow. Soweli telo yellow.
Yeah. Tomo Soeli Tello.
Tomo Soweli telo.
Yeah. Mute Soeli Tello. Tomo Soeli Tello.
Sona. Telo sulililon. Soweli. Mi sona soweli telo samani. Soweli ni li mu samani.
Bona. Yeah.
Okay.
Waso Tello Pimea. Pimea Waso. No. Yeah, Pimea Waso. Moku Soeli Tello.
Soeli Tello anu kala. Kala niliken kala. Yani Soeli Tello li moku kala.
Kala.
Musi. Okay, that's pretty good. So I think you told me that you took your daughter to the zoo.
The aquarium. So that's why I was saying,
that'll do though. That'll do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's not bad at all. You know, something that I've seen consistently with this is that 10 hours of CI for Toki Pona is not enough to make you fluent.
No.
The magic number, I'm thinking the magic number is probably close to 50-ish, but we'll have to see.
Is anyone doing that? Is anyone going to do that?
I'm hoping I might be able to. But you know, we'll have to see how it goes. But you know, you look at the language level scales, and you know, this is A2. I'm seeing consistently that people who go through these videos get to about A2 level. You know, the grammar's not there yet completely, but we can have a conversation pretty much. And I think that's quite something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, at the end, um, we were talking about what the animals eat. So we were talking about basically water animals,
Mhm. Yeah.
and I was saying that they eat fish, and I had to,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, you got that. Good, good, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to. So I thought you were asking what they ate, and I said like
Yeah, yeah, I
the
did.
penguins ate fish.
Yeah. Oh, penguins.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
was trying to
okay.
say
You know what? I
they
did think of penguins, but I didn't. Yeah, if we'd
and
gone on a bit longer, I was going to talk about penguins.
yeah. And I kept saying the wrong words for what I wanted to say. I kept saying wasso instead of tello.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's
So
fine.
that yeah,
Happens.
this is fun.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah. Okay.
Pona, pona.
Nah, Ponatawa. So yeah, just as to round off a couple of questions. Has doing the challenge changed anything for you?
Yes, absolutely. Um, um, how deep into it do you want me to go?
Up to you.
Okay, I fell into the rabbit hole. I got really excited. So, what I want to do is I want to explore the concept of like these small core the words that you use to communicate with Tokipona seem extremely powerful to me.
Mm,
And as a potential tool that you could use to speed up language acquisition of a new language. And I'm very curious because I noticed that I think I was learning words that I didn't know in Greek. So I didn't know how to say like things like I'm having a good time
okay.
and other things. And I'm noticing that like those core concepts of like what it means to be human are not taught in a traditional method quickly. And getting that core of knowledge that you can build your foundation upon, I think is a very powerful tool. And I want to explore that more.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm also extremely excited about comprehensible input. So I've been watching like Endless Peppa Pig in Greek. So
Yeah.
that's been awesome. And I wanna continue onwards with Tokipona as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to continue, well, at the moment with Tokipona, I mean, there are some. I'll send you it later if you like. There is of course, the Discord server,
Mhm.
Mapona Tokipona, and there's also the Kamasona Discord server. Are you on those?
No,
Okay, I
I'm
really
I
recommend
tried
those.
to be very very strict with your
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I reckon if you go to the Kamasona server,
Mhm.
I mean, I can only mention a couple of things off the top of my head.
Mhm.
So there is a YouTube playlist with a lot of content in Tokipana, but
Mhm.
some of it is, they're not all the best things to learn from. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
Maybe whether it's content or the style of the video, and sometimes a lot of it's in English or whatever.
Mhm.
And then, of course, on the Discord servers, especially, you have a lot of communication going on. There are some who organize VR chat and stuff like that. And there are also several very good websites that explain Tokipana to you.
Mhm.
And of course, there's the original book, Tokipona, the Language of Good, which is available on Kindle. And you've got the dictionary, Tokipona Dictionary, which came out 2 years ago now,
Mhm.
which gives you a lot of sample usages, and that can be quite good. But that's only available in hard copy. But
Okay.
anyways, there is quite a lot out there, and there is a lot of interaction going on online, so you can take the Tokipona forward if you want.
Mhm.
It's very interesting what you said about the core of what it means to be a human. And I think Tokipona captures that essence very well. And it's partly why I like it so much. Um, and I think you're also right. It's like the pen of my uncle is in the garden of my aunt kind of sample sentences. They don't
Mhm.
because, well, I think we could look at it this way. If language is form meaning connections,
Mhm.
and like I said in the intro, language acquisition is basically noticing the patterns of which forms accompany which meanings.
Yeah.
And of course, words don't mean things, people do. Then,
Words mean what people think they
well,
mean.
exactly. Well, it's intent. It's what I'm.
Yeah.
It's the thought I'm trying to get into your head. That's the point of a
Yeah.
meaning
Yeah.
in this context. So, what I need to do is witness people expressing meanings. So, my feeling is that if we wanted to speed up acquisition, then the one thing we could do is have input that focuses on very natural day-to-day stories and interactions.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we're back to a child's world, aren't we? And that,
And
again, I think feeds into the argument is that, it's not that kids have something special that enable them to learn language and we lose it as we grow up. It's more that those basic interactions where everything is obvious and everything is simple, and you know what's going on just by looking around.
yeah,
When we grow up, we don't have those environments anymore.
yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
No, that makes 100% sense. I feel that I very much agree with that, and that's actually I've been using more child focused comprehensible input than adults, because I feel like it's more it's definitely an easier route for me, because the adult stuff uses significantly more complicated words, and like I, I'm okay with just watching Peppa Pig do weird stuff, and there's weird stuff in that show. I love it.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I know of it, but I haven't never watched it.
yeah. I don't know. So I don't know if I would enjoy it as much in English, but like watching in Greek, I see that like there's definitely points where there's very strange abstract stuff happening, and I'm like, why this isn't a kid show, and it's bizarre, and I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, but yeah, no, I definitely agree that children have an advantage because of the content that they are willing to work through,
Well,
and I feel like adults need to get down a level and go like, yeah, I'm gonna go watch like Paddington.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and even then, the content that is designed for kids
Mhm.
assumes a certain level of competence in kids.
Yes. Yeah.
So why does a kid understand Peppa Pig or anything else that's aimed at kids?
Yeah.
Because they are already growing up in an environment
Mhm.
24 hours a day where at least the events that affect them are obvious to them,
Yeah.
and they're having these repeated forms in the presence of those meanings. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, get your shoes on.
Yeah.
It's
Like, what are these things that are on my feet? What are feet?
well, you can
So you have
see
to like
you
learn
can
that
see
stuff.
them, and you can see that these little, things
Yeah.
are being put on your feet,
Yeah.
and mum clearly wants them to go on your feet before you can go outside, and she says, "Well, let's get your shoes on." So
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
and then you watch a cartoon, and the cartoon has that background as a basis,
Yeah. And then it links into the other concepts. So
right?
like in your neural networks.
Yeah, yeah. So do you know about dreaming Spanish?
Yes. Yes. I it was part of the thing that I learned about. I actually like Googled dreaming Toki Pona to see if that was the same thing.
Yeah,
But then I was like, okay, comprehensible Toki Pona. And then I found you,
yeah.
and this is great.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I really think that things like dreaming Spanish are the future. There's also comprehensible Thai, which is like the YouTube port of what they did in the AUA school with Thai.
Yeah.
And I think that right now that's pretty good implementation of this thinking. Uh,
Yeah.
and
I
I
mean, like,
think, yeah,
like when I'm learning like a language, okay, when I learned English, I didn't drill grammar.
no,
It it was my least favorite thing in like, because I didn't and I still don't understand what the words mean. Like I don't, I can't bring up like a grammatical term to tell
no,
you what I'm trying to describe.
no, no. It's in the
Because
nature of
it's
it,
all playing catch up for the natural language. It's like, why does the act like this? It's because of however we speak.
of course, of
Yeah.
course. And it's funny. Just the articles, a and the.
Hmm.
I talk to a lot of you know Turkish speakers, Arabic speakers, Russian speakers. They all
Hmm.
struggle. and you think it's maybe one of the smallest words in the language, the most common words in the language, but where to use the and where
Yeah.
not to use the.
It's hard.
It is. And the thing is,
Yeah.
you can't describe it either. You can't give the rule, which means that it is not rule-based, essentially.
No.
And that's also why I'm these days, I'm really interested in this whole neural network thing, because there's a couple of videos by, I think, was it Three Blue, One Brown? I think that's the name of the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And he, 5 years ago, he did a couple of videos that introduce you to neural networks. And they're wonderful. I don't know how you seen them.
Yeah.
Right. But you know
really
how
fast.
he starts off by saying, well, here's what I'm guessing each layer is going to do. It's like you're trying to get the network to recognize digits. And he's saying, well, maybe the first layer is going to recognize edges, and the next layer is going to recognize loops and lines. And then when you have a loop towards the top, and then you have a line towards the right, then it will recognize it as a 9. And then you get to the end and say, no, that's not what's happening at all. And I really feel that that describes better what's going on than this idea that, well, there are these rules of where you use the and where you don't use the, and it's all, you know, there's rules in the head. I don't buy that anymore.
I 100% agree with you. I think that is most likely closer the way our brains operate than through, like, because you have to stop and think. It's like, when do I use the? You automatically do it. So
Exactly.
Once you get from your conscious mind to the subconscious, then you're like, blah, and you can talk freely.
Exactly. Well, it's like this neural network. You show it a 5, it says it's a 5.
Yeah.
How did it know it's a 5? I mean, blowed if I know. It doesn't know either.
And you're totally right about that.
It just works, and it's being trained on enough examples, like seeing enough examples until you start to feel the patterns and they start to feel natural, because your predictions start to, cash out, if you like.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
So I don't know. This
I
is
love that
a little experiment, a kind of experience thing, but it's kind of I don't know if trippy is the right word, but it's quite an exhilarating experience, I think, to feel that something's going on in there.
Yeah. So what I noticed, so when I knew that it was working, is I noticed that every now and then my brain would, like, I guess the best way to describe it is like mull over it or chew it.
Yeah.
So it would go, oh, this thing is happening. I'm going to think about Soeli Wawa for some reason, like forever. And I'm like, okay, this is great. And then, like, I would have a dream, and like every now and then there would be some Toki Pona in it. And like this happened rapidly. It was within the first like 5 videos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is incredible how quickly your brain is trying to rewire itself for pattern recognition. But we're incredible pattern recognition machines.
Yes.
And it's lovely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just to be clear, I mean, if you had studied a bit of Toki Pona beforehand, might it have helped you recognize those patterns faster? I mean, I'm happy to take an agnostic position on that one.
I don't know.
Well, but fundamentally, just analyzing won't get you anywhere, because the core is pattern recognition. Can you help pattern recognition along? Yeah, we can talk about that, but fundamentally, it's pattern recognition based on lots of input. There's no getting around that.
Yeah, it's pattern recognition and then predicting what comes next.
Isn't that
right?
the thing?
So I would say pattern recognition,
identifying
the thing, then figuring out what happens next is like a prediction.
Yes.
So like seeing the order of the words together versus just the bird. So like instead of just like a noun, it's the noun with context.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
if we take a very broad perspective, like Shannon's ideas about information being surprise, it's basically you didn't know that.
No, I don't. Tell me about it.
So Shannon came up with this really interesting idea, which is that basically the amount of information is how big a surprise it is. So if I flip a coin and I get heads, how much of a surprise is that? if I guess your phone number, how big of a surprise is that? And then
Okay,
the size of the surprise is how many bits.
that's interesting.
It is very interesting, isn't it? But you see,
That
this is why I was suggesting just now that pattern recognition, predicting what comes next, is kind of the same thing, because when what comes next doesn't surprise you, you've recognized the pattern.
yeah.
You see what I mean there?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. But what you said is also right. Yeah. Anyway, so last question. Your frank feedback about the course. If anybody wanted to do this for another language or something, what could be done better?
I don't know. Um,
You're very kind.
what you entertained my baby. You entertained my 9-month-old. And so you are the way that you're doing it is through you are speaking, you are making exaggerated motions and using hand motions and very animated facial features, and you're also pointing at things and you're describing things and you're walking back every now and then to like really nail it in. I think you're doing an incredible job. I wish something like this like it was more is more common,
Mm.
to be honest. And yeah, no, I think what you're doing is a good job.
Well,
And you should keep it up.
well, thank you.
Got to
I
get to that 50 hours.
well, I hope so. I mean, what I'm thinking of doing,
Mhm.
um, I mean, you'd be welcome to try it with me as well, is a
Okay.
kind of blend of story listening and crosstalk. Do you know what crosstalk is?
No.
Okay, I speak Toki-Pona, you speak English.
Mm.
We have a Zoom call. I turn on the whiteboard and I basically draw my way through a story. But every so often, I'm doing comprehension checking with you, but I like to call it kind of incidental comprehension checking. So it's not
Oh,
artificial. It's like I'm asking your opinion. It's like, do you like this guy? Do you think this guy is crazy, or do you think he's normal? Or have you ever been to this place before? And it's kind of
yeah,
incidental comprehension checking. So I'm just making sure that you're with me.
that's interesting. Okay,
That's the
that's pretty.
concept,
That's pretty cool. I
But
like
you
it.
respond in English. That's the point.
Yeah. I wonder, and this is like coming off the top of my head. I wonder, like, because I'm not a linguist or anything like that. I wonder if the crosstalk. Uh, I'm assuming there's resources on it, but is there a would that be trying to match what you were saying in English versus the Tokipona? Would that create an interference versus trying to just fully discover what the Tokipona is as you go through?
Well, no, because it's two-way communication. So
Yeah.
when I communicate to you, I'm trying to convey a meaning using Tokipona forms. Okay. The
Mhm.
reverse direction can be in whatever language you want. The point is
Okay.
getting you input.
Okay.
The point of this exercise is getting you input, not your output.
Okay.
Output will kind of more or less take care of itself.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that sounds fun.
All right, keep in touch then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still working on the idea, and I want to have something that's consistent.
Mhm.
But yeah, we'll see. But anyway,
Sounds good.
yeah. So thanks very much for doing the experiment, and also for this very interesting conversation. It's like you're quite plugged into all this, really. I think.